Remember, if you like the videos, like, subscribe, comment, share, support the channel if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. Or I will start doing ASMR videos. A little bit of a game theory video just because I had these two pictures, whatever, of guys hurricane kick up. So I'll do a game theory video about maybe progression in video games that maybe have, let's say, from a certain perspective, good intentions, but can have potentially bad consequences. Wait, good intentions that have bad consequences? What is that phrase? English is difficult for me. So hopefully you'll have some kind of idea of what I'm talking about when you look at these images. So let's say we have an old school move like a dragon punch or something. Totally invincible, right? Blah, 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 blah. We're thinking about like anti-airs and everything like that. And then we have games, games like Guilty Gear came, and they added forward punches, right? Forward punches are kind of, again, take this with a grain of salt, but forward punches are your sort of anti-air normal. Every character, again, grain of salt, has an anti-air normal, right? But when you give these normals, you know what I mean, such like crazy kind of like hitboxes and hurt boxes and priority, let's say, they inevitably in some cases, and it can be, for better or worse, you know what I mean, depending on the character, your perspective. Some of these moves that maybe are more designed, let's say, to be an anti-air can also be a very powerful poke, right? A very powerful check while you're poking and everything like that. Some characters can even go through fireballs, right? So maybe there's a perspective that, oh, well, we don't want forward punches to be that powerful. So then we go to a game like Dragon Ball Fighter Z, where we have moves that are specifically, not just the hurt boxes and hit boxes, but literally if the other guy is counted as in the air, you just can't beat them, right? Maybe that's sort of like to compensate for this or something like that. We don't want this poke to give it some sort of crazy hitbox and hurt box. So let's just give it an actual property that says it can't lose, you know what I mean, to an air move when you do this, right? And of course, there's different speeds of moves and everything like that, right? So you might think, okay, that maybe that's a good kind of, middle ground to meet between, right? But then I was thinking, and I've said this before about Guy's Hurricane Kick. Guy's Hurricane Kick is sort of an easy example of why something like this might be bad, right? Because in old games, right, a more sort of classic idea of Guy's Hurricane Kick is none of them are, well, they're invincible, but they're not invincible once they start hitting a lot of them, right? But there's an idea that they're not totally invincible, the full thing, like the Dragon Punch, right? Like we can see Guy's little hurt box right here, that little blue thing right here. But the sort of generalized idea of Guy's Hurricane Kick is little kick one beats all these low attacks, right? Middle kick one is aimed at the middle. And the hard kick one is the one that is the anti-air and has more of a hurt box at the bottom, right? So you might think if we were to put in let's say, if we were to redesign the Hurricane Kick maybe from a newer perspective of fighting games, of just giving it like, well, hey, we don't want to fuck with all these hurt boxes and hit boxes. Let's just say legitimately little kick one, it beats low moves. Medium kick one, it goes through all fireball moves. Because again, there are, if we think about more, say something like Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter 4 legitimately added just moves always can go through fireballs. It just doesn't have that fireball hurt box, whatever. And then we might say, okay, let's say the hard kick version is this sort of anti-air one. It will always win. And again, from a certain perspective, maybe that's fun. But again, to play devil's advocate and to try to get you to look at both perspectives, even though maybe on some level you might try to argue that like, oh, this is more complicated or something, or this is better, this works better because we have a clear cut, this move does this move does this Hurricane Kick is for this, right? But then you also lose these interactions like I've talked about before. In Alpha 1, where Guy's Hurricane Kick is the most powerful it has ever been, Guy's Hurricane Kick still is not as powerful if you think about it as a Dragon Punch, right? It can still lose to things. And you have these interactions in Alpha 1, especially because the move is slow, right? if you take characters with long hitting hurt boxes, right? Long hitting moves with big hurt boxes, and I've showed him videos before. Maybe I'll put a link to it in the video. In the original Alpha 1, if Ken does his roll trap with the duck hard punch, duck fierce for his guy, that actually beats every version of Guy's Hurricane Kick. And it's extremely obnoxious in that situation. And actually, in the Hyper Alpha version of the game, they even actually toned that down. A very strange kind of, that game was weird. They actually picked and choose different things to tone down and tone up. It's actually kind of interesting, right? And Guy's Hurricane Kick actually can beat the roll trap in ways that it didn't before. But before, a duck hard punch roll trap for his guy is actually very obnoxious because Guy's reversal is actually not 100% invincible to when it hits to actually beat that, properly all the time. But I would say, isn't that actually kind of cool? Because even though I like a character like Guy, even though Guy's Hurricane Kick, of course, it does have weaknesses that it's slow, you know what I mean? And you can't react to it as fast as you can with a Dragon Punch. But, and there's certain things you can do with Guy's Hurricane Kick. You can mid-screen go through fireballs, It does have, that usability, right? But why should a character like Guy have a Dragon Punch that no matter what, from a new perspective, if we're thinking of a new perspective of how a new game is designed, how we have actual anti-air moves, why do we want a character who is not your traditional Dragon Punch character, a character who can rush you down, has all these, rush down options, all this kind of stuff, a different kind of way of poking than Ryu? Why should he also have a theoretical Dragon Punch that is the answer to everything? Do you know what I mean? Because again, if you think about it, hopefully you get what I'm getting at, right? Why should Guy have this option that it's like, well, no matter what, my move always wins. I just have to pick the right move. No matter what, I win. No matter what, I win. And so what I'm getting at is you're losing these kind of interactions like this. You're losing these interactions, where you can have characters with high priority normals that hit for a long time, that have these sort of weird, let's call them interactions with a seemingly super powerful move, even like Guy's Hurricane Kick in Alpha 1, right? Shouldn't Ryu, the character that is the Dragon Punch character, have the quotation marks best Dragon Punch, right? So that was a video. Again, you got to know what I'm talking about, and you have to have played some of these games, right? And so what I was getting at is, although maybe from a certain perspective you can say like, oh, well, we added things like, on Guilty Gear, every character is going to have like an anti-air move, right? But then maybe there's a demographic, let's say, of the fighting game community. It's like, well, why should every character, it's supposed to be the anti-air, but because it's actually just the hitboxes and hurt boxes of the move, now it has weird interactions where maybe it's just too powerful as a check or a poke, to maybe some people. And like, well, what if we just make it so we don't have to fiddle with these extreme hurt boxes and hit boxes and we have anti-air moves? Just this low property. Like, okay, that might work. But then hopefully you can see that where that goodwill of adding a property like that could potentially make a move too good, right? Anyway, kind of a niche topic. But remember, if you like the videos, like, subscribe, comment, share, support the channel if you want. Help me get a new webcam, or if you want to help me get Street Fighter 6. I don't know if I'm going to get Street Fighter 6. I don't know. I don't know if I want to spend $50 on a game. You could, if you like me though, you could say it's my birthday present tomorrow. I don't know, but I don't know. We'll see. I still need a new webcam too. Anyway, remember, if you like the videos, like, subscribe, comment, share, support the channel if you want. Appreciate it. Thanks. The